I'm Stuart McIntosh with the BBC News. Hello. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has paid a surprise second visit to Kiev to offer President Zelensky a major training programme for Ukrainian forces. Mr Johnson said it would train up to 10,000 soldiers every 4 months. Nick Beat reports from Kiev.
As the bells of St Michael's rang out, the two unexpected visitors emerged from the magnificent golden-domed cathedral to cheers. The Prime Minister said the UK would support Ukraine until it prevailed, and President Zelensky thanked Boris Johnson for unparalleled support. While Mr Johnson took the UK out of the European Union, Volodymyr Zelensky wants his country to join the EU in the face of Russian attack. This visit was warmly welcomed, but Ukrainian officials stress it is a faster supply of bigger weapons which can help Ukraine the most in its hour of need.
The governor of the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad says neighbouring Lithuania is beginning to block rail traffic from Russia because of Western sanctions. Anton Alikhanov said up to 50% of cargoes would be affected. They include construction materials and metals imported to and exported from Russia through Lithuania. He called it a most serious violation of the Kaliningrad region's right to free transit. President Putin has described the sanctions imposed on Russia because of the attack on Ukraine as stupid and insane. Speaking at an economic forum in St. Petersburg, he said they'd failed to work and were impacting the West instead.
The
sanctions are crazy and, I would say, reckless. The quantity and the speed at which they were signed off was unprecedented. The West's plans were plain to see, to hurriedly and forcefully crush the Russian economy by destroying business chains, forcing the recall of Western companies from the Russian market, freezing Russian assets, hitting the Russian industry, finance, people's quality of life. They failed.
The Archbishop of Rwanda, Laurent Mbanda, has said he disagrees with senior Church of England leaders over the British government plan to send asylum seekers to his country. Earlier this week, senior Anglican bishops condemned the policy. Here's our religious affairs correspondent, Ali Makboul.
The leader of Rwanda's Anglicans says people in his country are ready and happy to receive refugees from the UK. Archbishop Laurent Mbanda says because many Rwandans had to live in exile, they understand the issues refugees face.
There is nothing immoral about receiving those people. There is also nothing wrong about contributing to the alleviation of what looks like a crisis, a global crisis.
That's in conflict with the position of senior English bishops. The Archbishop of Canterbury suggested the plan is ungodly.
World News from the BBC. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, has expressed alarm about the increase in hostilities in the Democratic Republic of Congo. She called for all attacks against civilians to stop. Earlier, the DRC partially closed its border with neighbouring Rwanda after a Congolese soldier was shot dead while attacking guards inside Rwandan territory. A military appeal court in Tunisia has sentenced a political opponent of President Kais Saied to 1 year in prison and banned him from practicing law for 5 years. A lawyer for Saïd Fadine Makhlouf said his client had been charged with insulting a judge. He called the verdict a farce. Mr Makhlouf has been one of the strongest critics of Mr Said's moves to establish what is in effect one-man rule. Police in Brazil say they've confirmed that the remains of one of two bodies found in the remote Amazon rainforest is that of the missing British journalist Dom Phillips. Our Brazil correspondent Katie Watson has the latest.
According to the police, through forensic dentistry, they identified the remains of Dom Phillips. They still haven't identified the remains of Bruno Pereira. They are still waiting to find the location of Bruno Pereira's boat that was sunk by the suspect. Despite having coordinates for it, they have still failed to locate it. The police have also said they don't believe there was any higher organisation, criminal organisation involved in this, and that the men acted alone in terms of kind of criminal organisations, but they're still not ruling out the involvement of other people.
The former US President Donald Trump has criticised his former Vice President Mike Pence as lacking courage for refusing to carry out a plan to overturn the 2020 election results. Mr Trump condemned what he called the ludicrous narrative and witch hunt of the Congressional Committee investigating his role in the January the 6th storming of the Capitol. BBC News.